our own little New Thought rave that happens every time we start.
We need some glow sticks.
Yeah. I have glow sticks in the... Oh, actually, I think I gave all those glow sticks away, actually.
Oh, yeah.
I thought I had glow sticks. I don't have glow sticks. Yeah.
Man.
What's up?
Hey.
Hey.
We are here for Radically Affirmative New Thought. That's what's up.
Love that.
And, you know, it's been a crazy whirlwind day already. Like, I woke up and was like, I've got nothing on my plate today. And then I was like, no, I have the rant. It's Wednesday. Yeah. I've got rant today. I've got deep soul meditation tonight. Oh, my goodness. So I remembered to show up. I'm here.
Yeah. The rant. We have our midweek prayer service here. Midweek prayer service. We're screening the movie I Am tonight.
Ooh,
at Unity Tucson. And so if you're out there and you didn't know that we're screening a movie tonight, come on down. We're going to start that movie at 6:30.
Yes. Come on down.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what is the rant? I feel like we take it for granted that people who log in may know, but maybe there are people who log in who don't know. So who are you? Let's start
I'm Rev Steph St. Amand. I am the spiritual director of One Love Awakening, which is an online community that's heart-centered and inspired, with the ground purpose of awakening to radical gratitude, radical acceptance, radical love, all that good stuff. So why not have a radically affirmative new thought to participate and engage with that, all that good stuff.
Yeah. I love that.
Who are you?
I've never actually heard you articulate it in that way before, but that sounds like a really exciting community to be part of.
Mm-hmm. It's lovely.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. And yourself, what's up?
So I'm Reverend Dr. Jonathan Zenz. I'm the senior minister at Unity of Tucson, which is an online and in-person spiritual community in the southeast part of Arizona, where Tucson is. And our purpose at Unity of Tucson is to provide a safe, loving, and inclusive space where people get to explore the principles of New Thought, which is the spiritual philosophy we teach, right? And what I believe happens when we are engaged in the New Thought spiritual philosophy and we put it to use in our life, we can master spiritual understanding, we can find personal purpose, and we can develop a spiritual path, and ultimately enhance the quality of our lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
That sounds
What
wonderful.
could be more radical than enhancing the quality of our lives in the face of what we perceive as all the challenges of the world?
Right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's an amazing community. I got to visit it.
I was so happy to have you here.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It needs to be annual for sure.
Yeah. So that's who we are. Let us know who you are and put some comments into the chat. And also, we thrive on the rant by knowing what you want to talk about. So, we don't really prepare talking points. We just allow ourselves to see what comes up. So if you have anything that you'd like us to, offer our thoughts on in a radically affirmative New Thought way, throw it into the comments and let us know.
Let us know. In fact, I'm helping us by sharing into all of my New Thought groups here.
Yay.
There we go.
Love.
Yeah. So you guys can do that too. Click those share buttons and help us get radically affirmative New Thought out into the world.
Yes. Let us be radically affirmative and affirmatively radical.
Ooh, affirmatively radical. Like it. As we were just coming on, Jonathan said, what are we talking about? I'm like, all of this good stuff.
All the good stuff.
Let us know that if you have a topic that you are working through. This is what I'm spending a lot of time with right now. The 4 agreements, life-changing agreements. And, I'm sure your community has talked about all of these agreements as well.
We've brought it up. However, I've never really done a study of the 4 agreements here. So maybe it's time. So can I tell you a little bit about my history with the 4 agreements?
Sure. Love that.
I have a little bit of history. So back in the day, 25 years ago, in fact, I know it was 25 years ago because it was the year 2000.
I love easy math like that.
Math. I can do math. Anyway, I had moved from New York City to Los Angeles, and I was in a I'm going to call it a radically toxic relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the reason that I moved from New York City to Los Angeles is I was looking for a manner of escaping that relationship when I did not have the fortitude within myself or the self-reliance to be able to go up and say, I need to end this relationship. So what I thought was a good idea was to go up to my partner at the time and say, so I'm moving to Los Angeles. And when he said, great, I'll move with you, I didn't have the guts to say no. So that's who I was at that time, right? Anyway, we moved to Los Angeles. We were together for another 9 months before I finally literally like walked out the door. I mean, we got into a huge fight. I walked out the door, I got in my car, and I ended up driving to San Diego from where I was living in the San Fernando Valley in the Los Angeles area. My dad was living in San Diego at the time, and he had, I got down there, I said, I don't know what to do. I've left my boyfriend, and like he's at our apartment, and I'm now like at a loss. And he said, great, you just stay here for as long as you need to. And he said, and I have a book that I want you to read. And he handed me the 4 Agreements. Wow. That was really one of the first opportunities I had to really reconsider my life from the perspective of self-esteem and self-reliance. Wow. In a profound way. It fundamentally changed my life. And actually, I think really was a launching point for me onto the New Thought path, although I did not enter a New Thought community for another 5 years. Like it was the beginning of me saying, oh, I'm in charge of the way I interact with this world. I'm in charge of my own consciousness, and I'm in charge of the dream that I get to create. That is my life. Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible.
So yeah, I have a very strong connection with the 4 Agreements. Because of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I have been thoroughly studying it for probably 5 years now. It's very highlighted. It's very highlighted. Yeah. And what I've done in my own course creation around the 4 Agreements is taken Science of Mind or Ernest Holmes stuff and cross-pollinated it. So because it's heavy and deep, and it's profound work. That is the inside job, right? Yeah. And so I bring in Ernest Holmes, the poetic and affirmative way that we can use the science of mind, the power of our mind, and how to talk nicely to ourselves while going through this stuff, like chewing on. I mean, you could chew on just the fact that we've been domesticated for a very long time, you know, and just if you're focused on, I know a year ago or so, no, it's been, oh my gosh, has it been 5 years? Oh my gosh, 4 or 5 years. A friend of mine said, I'm decolonizing my mind. And that was such a profound idea for me. I was like, put my hooks in there and was like, how do I do that? How do I decolonize my mind? So it's kind of like the same time I was doing this for the first time, like really studying it 4 years ago, you know, decolonize your mind. We are everything until we become aware of our own thinking. We become the observer of our awareness. Until that point, wow, the training, the conditioning, the programming, the domestication, it's all in there. And so the science of mind for me has helped me unpack other people's, like, who am I really? Who am I? Where are my edges? Where are my lines? How do I show up instead of how other people want me to show up, or how, even deeper still, how I perceive or believe they want me to show up. Because
you know, you just used a phrase that really caught me. You said, you know, observing my awareness. And I started to think, is it possible to observe our awareness? And this is sort of the paradox, right? And if we are observing our awareness, are we not creating that awareness through observation to begin with? Which comes first, the observation or the awareness? And I think about that only because, we like to believe that we know about quantum physics and quantum theory and associate it with spiritual philosophy. And the truth is, we have a very rudimentary way that we do it. I'm going to be really upfront and honest about it. But one of the fundamental premises of the quantum physics ideas is that nothing exists unless it is observed. And so if we are observing our awareness, without observation, does our awareness exist? I open up the floor to you to go.
Go, yeah. Where's my fork? Yeah, I have used terms like the mind behind my mind. And that's the divine mind. The divine mind is everything for sure. But in my life, I know that there is something beyond me. There's something greater than I am. And so when Ernest Holmes, he said, awareness is the destination. So, and what I talk about all the time is that awareness is the point of power.
Right.
To shift, to change, to evolve, to grow. When you become aware of the thing, that's you in a power position. So observing, it's more like I observe my thoughts and watch where they go, watch where they take me, instead of labeling them as bad and telling them to get away. It's more diving in, discovering. And so observing my awareness, I guess, is like having seen clearly that I have become aware. So I'm aware of this moment. I'm aware of my actions, my thoughts, my activities. I'm aware, and I'm observing me, being me. I'm observing myself, being the thinking self. So chicken or the egg, I don't know. I have no clue.
Is there something that you also then just brought up, and it made me start thinking along the lines of this question? You said that you were observing the mind behind the mind, basically, right? And that you equate that to divine mind, which is a construct that we teach, that there's an infinite divine intelligence, a divine mind, right? And that we are all individualizations of that divine mind. Those are some fundamental principles of the New Thought spiritual philosophy.
Yeah.
But if we have the capacity to observe that mind behind the mind, the divine mind, does the divine mind exist absent observation? And if it,
I'm not sure I'm observing the divine mind. I'm definitely observing divinity.
Okay. What does that mean? What is the difference?
So divine mind, creative intelligence, whatever it is we are calling God, it exists. It's a principle. And so a principle exists. And then we begin to study it. Then we begin to observe it. So like electricity has always existed. It's that someone observed something happening and tried to recreate it, and did recreate it. Used what was a principle in their own life.
Can you define principle for me?
No.
Sometimes I just want to make sure that we take a lot for granted, you and I, Steph.
I know we do.
We have a language that we speak that we have developed over decades of studying it. And sometimes it's hard for people to understand. Like
that's why I love the questions.
We say principle and we're like, well, I know what you're talking about. I think I know what you're talking about. But a lot of people won't know what we're talking about when we say it's
a universal law that is unchangeable, infallible. It's
It's hard, isn't it?
It's hard. Yeah. Like I want to, someone said something to me, or had written something like, come to class. Oh, as Reverend Tammy, my spouse. Like, even if you don't have the book, come to class and be present as a beginner mind. Like, come with a beginner mind. And sometimes I just want to be that again. I want to be a beginner and learn once again that the basic explanations and all this, because 17 years of this, we tend to like, okay, well, I have beginner students, and therefore I shouldn't be speaking at advanced level. Like I was saying before we got on, I'm like, last night I was like, this is a master class questions in this class, and it's so helpful. That's why I love the questions, because I forget who said it. It might have been Einstein, but to know something so simply, to know something so simply that you can articulate it to a 5-year-old and not lose its meaning, right? Like that's, oh my gosh. And if we could all do that, there would be peace. Like peace is simple.
Right. And we have some fundamental challenges in that as well. And a primary challenge among the fundamental challenges is that we try to explain the ineffable using language, and language is not sufficient to truly explain what it is we're trying to talk about. But we're doing the best we can with the tools that we have at hand. And I find that frustrating sometimes. I'm like, I want to be able to articulate this, and I just like, there's no language that fits.
Yeah.
Darn it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, Sherry, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Sherry. So lovely to see you.
Yeah. Here's Lorelei. It's so exciting to see people formulating questions. I think sometimes I forget that does take effort and bravery to even form the question and then put it forth and asking it. It's such grow. Yeah.
Yes. There's something that I offer to my community every single Sunday. I say, I'm not here to tell you what to think, and I'm not here to tell you what to believe. Yeah. I'm here to offer the philosophy, and you get to decide what to do with it, right? And part of it is I also sometimes will say, you may not believe everything you hear today. And that I think that's that skepticism is healthy, and it is actually a path to deeper conscious growth, because I want to live in the question in order that I may have greater exploration of what it is to live this thing called life. If I think I know, I guarantee you I don't know. And if I think I know, I've now put a cap on what is possible for me moving forward. Yeah. Because I won't seek to know more. So my whole ministry is around questioning. That's really my whole ministry. Like I don't think I've actually articulated it so succinctly ever. My whole ministry is about questioning. Yeah. I know you've been questioning me for 14 years. I have. Back when I was, back when I was your mentor in ministry, as you were like a young pup just out of school. A young pup. And I would ask you a lot of fundamentally, I think, challenging questions. And
I'd get red in the face.
Questions. The tables have turned.
Yes. So if you're watching, we'd love to see you. Let us know that you're watching in the comments. How is this landing for you? You want to talk about something else? Let us know. Of course, if you are watching on Facebook, those loves, those likes, click those share buttons. And if you're on YouTube, I think you can share now. Of course, you want to do that thumbs up.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes. Aligned action. If I have a rant, it would be that there might be philosophy, the messiness of life and imperfection of life It's hard to bring both ends together. Aligned action. Perfection of life. It's hard to bring both ends together. So aligned action and messiness and imperfection, those two lines. Oh, here's the philosophy. How do I use my freedom to choose aligned actions?
I think you have to first define what aligned actions are. Aligned with what?
Yeah.
That are you seeking to align your actions with love and kindness, compassion and joy? Or are you seeking to align it in some other fashion? I think that's the first thing.
Or aligned with your magnificent life, right? Like what's feeding you, what's feeding your soul.
And then I think the challenge here is that it's going to sound like a very trite answer, but whatever you determine your aligned actions to be, the freedom exists in the moment by moment choices you make. To be perhaps start being proactive rather than reactive in any given situation. That many of us are culturalized. Now, I'll talk about it in terms of a culture that I participate in because I live in a particular culture, but we are culturalized to be reactive, and that is fed to us on a consistent basis. We are fed the possibilities for reactivity through social media, through traditional media. We're constantly bombarded with opportunities to maintain a reactive state. And for me, this is how I choose to align my actions in love, kindness, compassion, connectivity, community. I think that my moment by moment choice has to be what is possible here, irrespective of the circumstances that I am experiencing, because I am not the product of my circumstances. My circumstances are the product of me. And so I have to make a conscious choice in every moment to step away from thinking that circumstances determine any aspect of my life.
Yeah. So you mentioned not thinking for you. Thank you. Philosophy. Now take aligned action. Yeah. Know yourself and then work towards remembering that every day and make aligned choices every day for who you are and who you want to be.
Yeah. Another thing I often say is that, and people hate when I say this because they're like, oh, but I don't, this is what I say. I say, here's the deal. This new thought philosophy, it's work. Yeah. It is work. And then I hear the people go, but I don't want to work. I want it to I want it to work for me. I'm like, I don't want to work it. I want it to work for me. Well, it will work for you. It will work for you.
It's always working.
Yeah, it is always working.
It's always working.
Willing to actively work it. That's how we transform our lives. I said earlier that this philosophy has enhanced the quality of my life.
Yes.
But it took work. And part of the work is that we are seeking not to coerce or manipulate circumstances in our life, but to shift our thinking to such a degree that we rehabitualize our conscious mind into more productive patterns so that what we have been culturalized into shifts into something that is productive in our life. These reactive thoughts are simply habits to be reactive that we were taught. And so it's about really taking the time and having a practice to let go of the habitual thinking that has dominated and rehabitualize our mind. And for me, I've endeavored to do that through spiritual practice, prayer, meditation. Those are the primary spiritual practices that I engage in to rehabitualize my mind.
Yeah. I was normalize conscious living.
Normalize conscious living.
Mhm. You know, it is work. And one of my favorite proverbs is before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood and carry water.
Yes.
We want we live in a society that has normalized instantaneous gratitude or gratification, right?
Mhm.
And I just want everybody to know that if it's work, it's worth it,
Mhm.
right? We
Mhm.
are worth having more peace in our life. We are worth having more love in our life. We are worth turning off our digital devices and spending some quality time with our own mind. We are worth that.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Unless you're engaged in something like the rant, then you don't have to turn off your digital device because
No, you make time for that.
see how self-serving that was?
Before bedtime, don't do this unless you're rewatching the rant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Missy, loving this conversation. Culturalized to be reactive. Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. And
Mhm.
it stemmed right from the beginning of in childhood, right? Like
Mhm.
the creation of competition, even siblings.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The whole notion of sibling rivalry is made up.
Oh, Missy's watching on two channels.
Ooh.
Normalized conscious living. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, normalized conscious living. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've got notes all over the place. Yeah. Consciously committing to a radically spiritual life. That's what I've got on my notes right here. Consciously committing to a radically spiritual life.
Mhm.
That's my ministry.
Yes, mine is eliminating the perceived gap between human and divine.
Mm,
That's
yeah.
really what drives me.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Missy, what do you want to talk about now? Working on computer and watching on phone, perfect use of digital device.
Yes. What's funny to me is that, Sherry's my assistant. She's literally in the office right over there.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, Sherry.
Yay, Sherry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm.
Yes.
Mhm.
And now she's got a whole bunch of insights having finished her first year of practitioner training.
Mhm. She does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dr.
Mm.
JZ, yes, I resonate with that. Yeah.
Yay. Yeah. Ah,
Yeah.
Sherry's waving hi. Yeah.
Yeah. So many great people.
So many great people.
Oh, yes. Oh my gosh. We just talked for what I thought was like an hour, and that was 25 minutes.
Mhm. Well, 29
Wow.
minutes.
29 minutes
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
And that was a lot.
Was it? I know. Actually, the thing is, I feel like we could like. I want to go back and watch what just happened because there was a lot of stuff that we could really chew on there.
It's like I'm loving teaching class in person. I've got an in-person class happening right now on the 4 agreements. And last night it was like, okay, I've got like 3 minutes, want to respect everybody's time. And someone was like, I don't feel like we're complete yet. I don't feel like we're done talking about this. I'm like, we could talk about this one agreement for the next 6 months. Like it really is, so digest, take little bites, digest, take little bites. Yeah. Yeah. Missy, I'm still digesting. So many nuggets.
Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's like things just fall out of my mouth, and I'm like, "Oh, spirit's happening right now. The spirit is just doing its work through me."
Yeah. And that's why it's hilarious when someone says, could you repeat that? I'm like, no.
How many
I
times
can't.
do you get that in class? Can you repeat what you just said? I'm like, no, I can't.
Anybody?
Literally,
Yeah. Anybody
and
else? Can anybody else?
and we video record all of our classes. I'm like, no, I can't, but you can always go back and watch the video.
Yeah. And if there's videos of your classes, go watch them again. I guarantee you'll get something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another, if you have time, guidance from my heart, being true to myself, even if this disappoints others. Yes. Be okay with disappointing others, because that's about them. That's not about you.
Right. And I think,
No.
this opens up a whole conversation.
Mm.
Because again, we are culturalized into a habit of trying to appease,
Yeah.
rather than standing firm in our truth. And here's the thing, I would never intentionally want to hurt anyone. But I also believe if I am rooted in a conscious, heart-centered path that affirms everyone's value, including my own, then being true to myself fundamentally cannot hurt anyone else. But their disappointment, if they choose that path, is for them to own, not for me to own. Yeah.
And there's the golden thread that is in all faith traditions, religions, etc. That, and it harm none, do what you will. Like if it's not going to harm you and you're included in the none, right? If it's not going to harm none, that's also you. That's everyone.
Yeah.
So, and there's examples everywhere of harm being done, and when harm is being done, it's because we don't have foresight, or we're not consciously engaged in the moment. We're, oh my God. And my name, it says Saint Steph, right? It says Saint Steph, but I know my experience, and the making of a saint is all the saints have gone through suffering and plights and all of this, and then have created miracles in their and usually those miracles, they're sainted after they're dead, after they transition onto their next experience. Hundreds of years later, we found 3 miracles, this person's now a saint. And so the big joke is Saint Steph, it's because my last name is Saint Amand, right? So I've always been a saint, and it's a halo or a shawl or a trunk of baggage that I have carried my whole life, because it was on my high school jacket, Saint, and we go through all of that stuff to find that there is grace, and there is glory, and there is divinity in all things. And so when I don't want people to think I'm a saint because I don't do anything wrong. And I'm a living specimen of perfection and not harming. It's a life well lived, and we get better as we go. So we don't take and it harm none. Like you're not going to be perfect your whole life and not have any scrapes and scars. And sometimes people are just on the path of our growth that looked a little messy. And so that's the whole picture, is to come back and return to that place of loving yourself, loving others, and doing that work. So sometimes it sounds like, I know everything now, and I'm just like, I'm not, there's nothing more for me to grow through. I have all the answers, and that's just not true.
If there were nothing,
my life is deliciously messy.
Yeah.
Deliciously messy.
If there were nothing more to grow through, I think I would probably be done on this plane of action.
That's how I feel too.
Yeah.
If there's nothing more for me than on this plane of action, I will move on.
Yeah.
To the roller coaster of the cosmic universe. Yeah. I love it. I love it's a Stoic philosophy, though. Like if a Stoic philosophy, if you knew today was your last day, how would that change what you do? right? And then, so Stoic philosophy, it's like live every day like it's your last.
Yeah.
And
Funny, I just downloaded on audio book the works of Marcus Aurelius, which is fundamental to Stoic philosophy. Yeah.
Yeah. I love a shout out to Ryan Holiday. Have you heard of Ryan Holiday? He's written tons of books on Stoic philosophers. And he's got the Daily Stoic is his YouTube channel. He's got books. Oh my God, love him. And he's talking about our stuff, but from a secular, not non-spiritual based experience, but he's talking about philosophy and Stoics. And it's awesome. So go check him out if you love that kind of stuff. There's tons of comments here. Oh my gosh.
Yes. Here we are. Okay.
I think the hardest part is that this is in person when somebody's doing something that causes health issues. Courage, knowing we are not alone. Yes, knowing we are not alone. Exactly. Taking a stance can be loud, but it could also be loving. Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Say more about this one. The hardest part.
Just remember, there's about a 20-second delay from when, and it ends up being 40 seconds because it's 20 seconds from now. You will hear this in 20 seconds from when we've actually uttered it. And then
so we're time traveling.
Response, and then there's that more delay. So sometimes we're delayed and not entirely certain what something is directly relating. Yeah. Yes.
So being in person with somebody that is doing something that causes health issues, like I guess a secondhand smoke.
Oh, that's exactly what they've just put in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Smoking around me, and they know that's a boundary for me, and they do it anyway. I have to stand up and say, okay, I'm stepping away, and my child is involved. Yeah. That is hard. It's, that's that you have, like, strong boundaries is a thing. If they're smoking in your house, that's hard. How are you?
Yeah, well, part of it is you're taking responsibility for your own participation in that. And that's, if you need to step away, you need to step away. Now, is it always possible to step away? I think that becomes the other question that I don't know that I have an answer to that. So, having the willingness to basically step into courage and have, frankly, what may be a difficult conversation. And being firm in your resolve to say, this is not okay with me. And if this behavior continues, and here's the thing, differentiate the core of someone's being from the behavior they engage in, because I will still hold firm that we, as the mission statement here at Unity of Tucson is love only, forgive everything, remember who you are. And that means irrespective of somebody's behavior, our first priority is to love only. Right. And so we have to find the balance there. And if we can step away, that is us taking responsibility for our own participation. Yeah. That's important. Yeah.
And especially it's hard if the other people around you who are doing this aren't respecting your boundaries in your own home.
Right.
That's a whole deeper conversation.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So funny. I've now started thinking about, like, I grew up in secondhand smoke for a while because I lived with my grandparents. My grandparents were of a generation where everybody smoked, and so I grew up in secondhand smoke.
People used to smoke in the hospitals.
I know, right? And I remember the days when you could still smoke on an airplane. They had a smoking section on an airplane. Like, what good was that? And then I smoked for a while, which people are always surprised that I'm like, I am of a certain generation where, as a teenager, I started smoking as a teenager. I smoked into my 20s, and gratefully I had the wherewithal to go, oh wait, this is probably not the highest use of my body temple. And so I'm going to let this go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I smoked for 10 years probably.
Mhm. Yeah.
But 20 years ago.
Right. That's the thing. Like I stopped smoking more than 20 years ago. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
Hmm. Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, there was one from
There's one
Missy.
from Missy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Living in fear of our own mortality, so desperate for control, I tend to think that's where the harm comes from. Thinking life is happening to me or by me instead of growing through me.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the spiritual path. You've just articulated the spiritual path. And I think there's even there was a way this was articulated by Dr. Michael Beckwith. Life happens to me, life happens by me, life happens through me, but ultimately life happens as me, right? And that is what I think he referred to it as a kingdom of consciousness. And as we develop ourselves in consciousness and in spiritual practice, we do realize that life happens as us.
Mm.
I've added a fifth.
Mm.
Because I think it's not just as me, which is radically independent, and I'm supportive of a level of independence, but I am more supportive of interdependence. And I think life is happening as we, the collective. And if we understand that fundamentally, then what we end up doing is inviting ourselves into more community-oriented actions that are supporting the whole, rather than only seeking to support the self. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. The collective consciousness, like every droplet of clean thought that goes into collective consciousness benefits all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. As we, like.
Well, there was a whole movement, right? The me to we movement.
Me to we movement, yeah. And I think that I look around, and now I'm going to talk about what I perceive. This is my perception. I look around, I see what seems to be unfolding in the circumstantial world all over the world. I mean, you're in Canada, I'm in the United States. I could easily look to the significant challenges that are unfolding here in the United States. And I'm in a place of choice always to either let myself be diminished by the circumstances, feeling powerless, or I can step into an awareness that irrespective of the circumstances, I am a person of power and I am a person who can direct the course of my own life. I believe that what is happening, somebody said yesterday, when Jonathan takes off his glasses, it means he's always. I believe that what is happening is the death rattle for an old paradigm in consciousness that can no longer maintain itself, but it is fighting like hell to stay in our experience, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I see on the other side of all of the challenge that we are facing globally, a radical and I see a radical transformation is unfolding.
Yeah.
And I'm excited by that because there's going to be in the spiral dynamics world, they're saying it's going from tier 1 to tier 2 living. And if you don't know spiral dynamics, I've just used a term. You can go look it up. I'm not going to try to explain it to you right now because, I endeavor to understand it, and I still have trouble sometimes understanding it. But there's a radical shift happening, not going to happen. It's literally happening. But it's almost like, the pendulum, as the shift happens, the pendulum has to swing so far to one side for that, for those old ideas to finally dissipate and be done once and for all.
Yeah.
I think we're all experiencing that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes. I honor the truth within me, even when it asks me to walk a path others may not understand. I choose self-trust over approval. I release the need to manage others' reactions. Yeah. Yes. Great affirmation.
The other thing about releasing the need to manage others' reactions is also, I actively work to remind myself, and if necessary, to let other people know that they do not have to own my stuff. That sometimes I want to be able to articulate something, but I'm not asking somebody to own it, that I recognize and know that what is mine to address and it is mine to address, and you don't have to worry about it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And starting conversations with, I just need to vent. Can you take time to hear me? And I'm not looking for fixing or advice or anything. I just need to articulate this so that I can hear it, process it. Yeah.
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 I love this. Me to we to we.
Was that what this? Do we? Yeah, yeah.
We. Yes.
We. Yes. The death rattle. We were just talking about that at our Creekside chat in the first thing this morning. Nice. That's synchronistic.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we're also, somebody was pointing out recently that there's there's this whole theory about this 80-year cycle. And if you think about what was happening about 80 years ago, the turmoil in the world seemed insurmountable to that generation 80 years ago. And sometimes it feels a little insurmountable what we're going through now. But look what unfolded at the completion of that turmoil. There was like a new golden age, almost a renaissance, right? And I think that there is some validity to this kind of cycle of consistent upward mobility and understanding and awareness, and that's it's a little bit about what spiral dynamics is talking about, saying, yes, things are going to get more complex and we're on this cycle of it spiraling upward into greater complexity, but also greater awareness and understanding. And that's really the evolution of humanity. Yeah.
Well, and it's the micro macro, like that's collective consciousness, spiral dynamics. But in our own life, our lives are spirals. Like it's not a straight line and it's not a roller coaster. It's a spiral. And some people are like, well, how come the same thing keeps happening to me? I thought I learned this lesson. You did. And now you are on the next level, right? We have life lessons and life levels that we are walking up. So if we're seeing a lesson we've done before, again, it means we are more prepared to handle it with awareness now that we've already gone through this.
Yeah.
So don't make a big deal about it. Just get through it again, faster.
Grow through it again.
Grow through it again. Yeah. Because that's one of my favorite sayings. If it's before me, it's for me.
Absolutely.
I don't need to heal anything that's not before me, because then that's just me making more work. If it's before me, that's what I'm paying attention to. That's what I'm chewing on. Like if there's the road is paved because there's grace and divinity in every step, right? So knowing the road is paved, stop putting stuff on the road. Stop putting stuff on the road and just walk forward.
Yeah.
Knowing you are magnificent.
And that is what we say every single
you are.
In the community. You are magnificent. I am magnificent. There is only magnificence. And the manner in which we use our magnificence is what determines the flow of our life. And so,
yeah. If you need more examples, go spend some time in nature.
Yeah.
Go stare at a tree that's over 200 years old, and you'll be like, how did this tree make it 200 years old?
Well,
that's
you were here.
Incredible. And it was a seed. It was once a seed.
You were here several weeks ago, and you got to experience the saguaro, right? The cactus that grows to be like, 30 feet tall.
It doesn't get its first bump for 100 years.
Yeah. Yeah. They're remarkable. They are.
And you think, and we think like, oh, one treatment and I'm good.
I keep treating. We always say treat until you demonstrate.
Treat until you demonstrate.
Yeah. And
demonstration is in the movement. The movement that you are taking towards the answered prayer.
Yeah, because I always say the prayer is answered through the impulse into action that exists within you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we got another affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
I give thanks for the unwavering wisdom within me. I celebrate the courage to live my truth with compassion, knowing that honesty is a form of love. I am grateful. Yes. Love it. Love these.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Would you
I
believe?
love affirmations.
Would you believe that it's almost time to wrap up?
Wow. We did it.
Yay!
Yeah, we did it.
I love this opportunity to connect with you and to, rant with you.
How do you guys feel about Wednesdays? Have we been Wednesdays for a month now?
We're a month in to Wednesdays.
I know I seem to have historically more energy for a Wednesday rant.
Oh, me too.
We seem to be like awake for them.
And I have to tell you. So part of it is I have reclaimed my Fridays, which means, I used to come into the office just to do the rant on Fridays, and Friday is supposed to be a day off for me. And it's not that I didn't appreciate doing the rant. It's just that I would motivate myself to get into the office, and I really was not having a day off. And so having reclaimed my Fridays, I am so much better consciously. I'm consciously so much better than I was. And so grateful. And thank you all. Thank you.
Yeah, grateful for our time together. Me too. Yes, getting out of the midweek slump. I think that's a thing right there. The midweek slump. The prayer is answered in the impulse to action within me. Love that.
Yeah. Yes. I also sometimes when I teach prayer class, I purposefully use the word impulse rather than compel, because sometimes people use compel and impulse almost interchangeably, but compel mean there's a compulsion that perhaps is not a pulling that is not in alignment with what it is that you're seeking to experience. So I would say it's got to be an inner impulse.
Yeah.
So
because I have used and do use compel, because sometimes I feel like I'm compelled, like there's it's not that I'm not free, it's that the choice has already been made for me because it is for my highest and greatest good, and it's spirit, intelligence, divinity, magnificence compelling me to that place within me that is already.
So what if that was your impulse and you were impelled?
Yeah, impelled. Yeah, that makes sense. It's an impulse, an impulsive reaction to that. So, I'll learn the semantics about that for myself.
I know, I'm a very semantic kind of guy. I'm always like, let's look at the little intricacies of the words we use. And then I say, and language is really clumsy in terms of trying to articulate what we would like to articulate.
Yeah, it is. glad I popped in. We're glad you popped in too.
So glad that you're here for this.
Yes.
Yes. So there we are.
Okay, so I know you've got stuff going on tonight.
We have. We're screening the film I Am here at Unity of Tucson. Like I said before, the film is going to start at 6:30. We will have
popcorn.
Yeah, we're going to have popcorn, and we'll screen it, and then we'll have a little discussion afterwards about what the film brings up for us. I'm excited about that.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna look into that film for sure. I've got deep soul meditation tonight for those of you who meet online, and it's not too late to join Reverend Tammy St. Amand's class that's on Monday nights. Information for that is on the website, The Tao of Imperfection, The Way to Wholeheartedness. So you are welcome to be in that as well. Especially if anything we talked about here resonates with you and you want to dive in a little bit more. The Tao of Imperfection. I mean, our first night was this past Monday and it was amazing. So door's still open for one more Monday, and then the door's closed because gotta wait. Yeah. But all those deets are available at oneloveawakening.com.
Yeah.
UnityTucson.com.
UnityTucson.com. If you look at the calendar, there's all kinds of stuff happening here all the time. And we'd love to see you.
Yeah. And of course, our email addresses are here. So if you have an idea for the rant or a radically affirmative new thought that you want us to chew on, and you want to chew on it with us, let us know. We are accessible to you, and we're so excited to have new thoughts with you, for sure.
We are.
Okay, we'll see you next Wednesday, everybody. Until then, peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings. Bye.